Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Moving to Markham. My name is Ralph Ciencio, broker of record here at Remax Hallmark Ciencio Group. And today we have a great guest. We have my friend Tony, who's here from Chi Chi's Pet Resort. And we're going to be talking about, the impact of pets in our lives. We're going to do a unveiling or, maybe a bit of storytelling of Tony and how he became a great entrepreneur here in Markham and his journey to start and grow a business. And we'll just let the conversation go from there. So without further ado, I welcome Tony. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So Chi Chi's Pet Resort. Amazing name. I love it. My brother, his name is Francesco. We call him Chi. So when he said Chi Chi, I said it's kind of like my brother's, an homage to him. And so tell us, tell us, who you are, where you're located, and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Tony. We're a pet boarding facility in Markham now, and what we do is primarily dogs. In the future, we'll probably be doing some cats. We might do some on the road stuff for your pets at home, but that's more in the works.
Yeah.
We're on a farm in Markham, which is we're the closest on the farm facility in proximity to Toronto.
Now you said you're near McCowan and 19th.
19th, yes.
So just very close to the Markham Fair.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, which is actually, it's not far really from most of Markham. Can get to the Markham Fair in probably 10 minutes. So you got an excellent location. And then we talk about the people that are north of Markham. So Stouffville, Uxbridge, Newmarket, Aurora, Richmond Hill. I'm sure that's a convenient location for all those families.
Right. Yeah, we get a lot of clients from Stouffville, a lot of Ballantrae, Uxbridge area. Lots of people come down to us for the boarding needs. I mean, we've only been open for 5 months, so we're like a baby still. Yeah. Still trying to figure things out. I'm very much in pre-grand opening phase where I'm trying to figure out the standard of practice, all the kinks out of the way before I'm hoping to have a grand opening next summer. Where I invited in all the cameras, all the people from the media, tours.
So you guys are 10 acres of land.
10 acres of land. Yes.
10 acres of land. And what's interesting about your model is that you actually, you were describing to me just as we were chatting, you want, in a boarding facility, not just these tiny cages and dogs tied up. You want them to have ability to run around. Right. And tell us a little bit about the structure that you have, because I thought that was really interesting.
Right. So we converted a 10,000 square feet greenhouse into like a play yard. We have half of it is mulch, half of it is grass. Keeping the grass green with all the dogs is a losing battle.
Yeah.
But we do our best. But structurally, in terms of schedule, your dogs will be out between the hours of 8 to 12 and then 1 to 6.
Wow.
Now, they're not out the whole time. We do play groups. So, if your dog can fit into a lot of different groups, then your dog might be out for a lot. Also depends on how hot the day is, how old your dog is. Like a senior dog will only want to be out for half an hour at most.
Wow.
At most, per half day.
Wow.
They want to be out for half an hour in the morning. They want to be out for half an hour in the afternoon, and then they're done.
Yeah.
Whereas the puppies, they'll want to be out for like 3, 4, 5 hours of the day, and they're still going at the end of the day. It's just different, right? So it's our job to make sure that your dog goes home tired at the end of the day. If they're coming for daycare, or they're well taken care of and they don't exude themselves if they're boarding with us.
Yeah, and I think you're on the right track with what you're doing. As I look at like systematic changes or the future of real estate, no surprise that all legislation is pointing to densification. Properties are going to get tighter. People are going to lose the backyard. You go back 50 years and people were on lots that were 60 feet wide by 150 feet deep. Good luck finding that anywhere in proximity to the GTA.
Absolutely.
People are in stacked townhouses, condos. So the idea of having a dog, which is obviously super popular to have, that companionship and all the benefits of it. But then when you live in a 1-bedroom condo at Markham and 16th, and you have Zoom meetings and you're working from home, it seems to me like you're solving a problem that probably a lot of people have.
Absolutely. Looking at dogs, specifically culturally speaking, if we went back 60 years, maybe our parents' generation, dogs were meant to live outside. But if you watch that progression as we've kind of disconnected more from our neighbors and the people around us.
Yeah.
And like, technology has advanced more. TV,
Yeah.
smartphones. We've become a little more like lonely, a little more
Yes.
segregated. The dog has slowly moved into our house.
Yeah.
They moved from like a dog house outside to
remember dog houses outside? That was a thing.
It's not a thing anymore. If your dog is outside now, that's abuse.
Yes, and it's funny because they're wild animals, and we let them into our house. It's kind of like kidnapping.
Absolutely.
People are like, I rescued. I'm like, I think you kidnapped. That's
It's the dogs. They can't fend for themselves outside anymore. They're outside. They're just kind of wandering. They have no natural instinct, which is fine. Most of these small dogs, medium-sized dogs, they're not meant to be outside fending for themselves, right? But like as time has gone on, like dogs have went from outside to inside to sleeping in our beds.
Yeah.
Now, if your dog nowadays, if your dog doesn't sleep with you in your bed or in your bedroom, like you're seen as kind of a weird owner of the dog.
Wow.
Like if your dog's crated not in your bedroom,
it's an emotionally abused dog.
It's a little bit of emotionally abused dog, which is it's because in my opinion, I think like dogs specifically is the closest thing we have to like our inner child.
That's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're pure, they're innocent,
fun.
They're if you
loving,
exactly, and if you like, and this is why we love rescue so much, right? Because we see a lot of ourselves in these rescues, like these traumatized dogs, and we feel like
wow, that's so interesting.
As
you feel like you're saving yourself.
Exactly. A lot of people feel like they're saving themselves, right? They people who work with animals, and I'm very familiar with this. There's a lot of people who are very traumatized in life, and they don't find safety working with people. So they find that safety working with animals, and they're willing to give up. Like I have a dog right now that's staying with me for indefinitely, right? And I'm like this dog has a limp that he got from going to another boarding facility, and and like we paid out of pocket to have him go to the vets. We like my work employees on their lunch breaks will take this dog to like the pet store. They'll take him to Home Depot. They'll take him to all these different stores or on the walks, because they only get an hour lunch, and because they work like 8-hour 10-hour shifts, and they only get an hour lunch, and then they will take this dog out.
They care about him that much.
Oh, they will buy him stuff. They'll buy him treats. They'll buy him toys. They'll buy him chews. They bring things for him from their home.
Wow.
Right, and I think that really speaks to people who want to work with animals, because like, they feel like they see a lot of themselves in these animals, whether they're traumatized or not. It's a lot of us have a rough time growing up, right?
You speak to a really interesting point of like, I wonder, like I've been advocating for getting a dog for some time. My wife Maria strictly prohibits us getting a dog, which I may take me another 10 years. I may win her over. I don't know. I may win in the long game. I totally understand her point of view, because she's so responsible and structured and respectful. And I think the idea of getting a dog in my household, where currently we live quite a busy lifestyle, she says no one will be around to take care of the dog. And I think that there's some mindset of people saying, I want to get this toy, I want to get this thing that will bring me joy. Personally, it breaks my heart when I see I'm showing properties. I walk into a 480 square foot condo and I see a German Shepherd in a crate. I'm like, man, this is so mean. Like that was a poor choice.
Absolutely.
But with your mindset or the idea of the emotional gap that the dog or a pet may fill, maybe somebody that gets a really big dog has some insecurities. Because like I would love to get a big safety dog, like a big German Shepherd, that if someone came to the door that shouldn't be there, you feel, I would go to bed thinking, oh, well, at least the dog is watching. Because right now I'm the dog. If someone comes to the door, it's got to be me. Absolutely. I'm like, I'd like a break of that job for at least one day a week.
Right.
But so I guess your point of it is actually kind of like a Lego piece, where a pet can fill a void that somebody may have from their childhood, or a void they have in their current life, right?
And the dog is also like a projection of who you are and how you see yourself.
Yeah.
No people who want guardian breeds usually they themselves feel like they fill that role in their family.
That's why you see those like big biker guys
They're
with
like,
this like
absolutely,
pit bull or
absolutely, because like, you ask them who, like, what's your role in the family? Like, I'm the protector, I'm the provider.
So interesting.
I want my wife to have a very safe life. I want to provide for her, right? Like, and that's, I want to protect her from the rest of the world, from all the chaos of the world. And like, that's why they buy the guardian breeds, because that's how they see themselves. And it's very obvious the way I like, with so many clients coming to the door, I see that, your dog is a very, very mirror like reflection of who you are as a person.
So if I gave you a breed of a dog, you would tell me more or less the character?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it gonna criminalize you if we have this on the show?
I
don't want you to like lose a client because you made fun of poodles. Okay, poodle. Who's a poodle?
Sassy. Of course, poodles are extremely.
How about a pug?
Sassy. A pug, kind of a playful personality.
A pug is a playful personality.
Like Frenchies, pugs. You have a very like friendly, like a little bit of a I don't want to say airheaded, but maybe a little bit more like.
Just live for the moment. Yeah, a little for the moment type.
Absolutely,
attitude.
yeah, for
like,
sure.
Let's just do something cool.
Very is in the moment kind of personality.
How about an English bulldog?
English bulldog, so like a very old school dog. That's a very so you come from a more of an old school family.
Wow.
I say like
German Shepherd.
German Shepherd, like I say, like you're like blue collar workers love German Shepherds. I have a German Shepherd, 90-pound girl, a rescue. German Shepherds, they're very anxious people.
Really?
German Shepherd owners are almost always very anxious people.
On edge. Interesting.
Yes, because and they're very busy.
Wow.
Because the German Shepherds are often seen as a guardian. Like they're like the guardian breed that's not a guardian breed. They're a working class dog, but they're not meant for home security. Even though we see a lot of
police movies and stuff like that. Canine unit.
Yeah, but the thing is, like most of these canine units, they have Malinois. Shepherds actually are not a common dog in the police force.
Wow.
Right. Because I have friends who are trainers and they train for the police. Like these dogs they're meant to be like emotionally distant from the trainer for like years until they're handed off to the police, because anyone is supposed to be able to work with these dogs. Oh, okay. Right. So like the trainer isn't even supposed to name the dog. They're not supposed to have.
It's just like a worker, like an employee.
Exactly. Right.
Like you're working with John today, and tomorrow you're working with Sarah, and that's.
I mean, like these dogs, they're like not every single one of these dogs that go through the training program will be actually fit for the program, because some of them, if they cannot have a fearful dog.
Wow.
Right? So for example, my German Shepherd, she is fear aggressive. So even though she's aggressive,
fear aggressive. Yeah, so what an interesting term.
It's not stemming from being protective. It's stemming from being fearful.
Wow.
Right. So a fearful dog cannot be a police dog.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of the little.
Because if they go to a big crowd, they just freak out because they're scared. What's going on?
You need a dog that's very, very in control.
What about huskies?
Okay, so huskies are like there's two kind of huskies. The big fluffy ones they're called Alaskan Malamutes. They're very lazy. They're very lazy.
The dogs are lazy.
Very lazy dogs.
Wow.
They just want to laze around.
They don't have to walk the kilometers at a time. No. So the smaller ones maybe have to do the walking.
They just kind of like I think they're like the more domesticated version of the huskies. Huskies are the smartest dogs that I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
The huskies are the first ones that figured out how to open my locks. Wow. I have a heavy door. Every single one of my doors have a heavy handle and a like a very small knob that locks a room. A husky was the first one to figure out how to get out of a room consistently. I'm talking about as soon as you put her back, she knows how to get out.
It's not by accident.
I've had to baby proof all my doors.
Wow.
Because of this husky. Wow. Right? They figured it out, and then and they can get in and out of any kind of environment as soon as you leave them alone.
Wow. How about a small lap dog? I don't know the other brand.
Like a Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. Chihuahua. Yeah.
So Chi-Chi is actually my old Chihuahua that passed away.
Oh,
right.
Sorry.
I have a Palm. I have a Palm, Chihuahua, 2 Labs, and a German Shepherd.
Wow.
So I have 5 dogs. right? Like my life is chaos.
So you bought this land and started this business out of necessity. That was just like
Absolutely.
you're just taking care of what you own. You know?
Absolutely. You know what? Like I thought about it for a long time. I'm like, I have space. What am I gonna do with my life? Because during COVID, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Because I want to do something completely different, right? I'm like, I have 5 dogs. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't leave my dogs anywhere because like my family isn't able to take care of all these dogs at the same time. Like, they can take care of like 2 dogs, not 5 dogs, right? And now like my family tends to like travel a lot too. Like my father is in like Eastern Europe right now. My mom might be going back to China for a while. My sister's back in UFT. My grandma's like in her 80s. So I can't plan my life around being able to having them take care of these dogs. And I know I checked out a bunch of these like boarding places. Like, well, my shepherd is fear aggressive, right? My Chihuahua is like a nut job. Like he will screech at the top of his lungs as soon as he sees a dog walking down the walkway with me. Right? My Pomeranian is scared of the world. Wow. So like I have all these different dogs that need different kind of like handling. Like I can't. There's nowhere that I'd be comfortable putting my dog in. If I want to go travel for like a week, like a month, no, like God forbid I want to go backpacking for like 2 months, right? Like where can I put my dog? Yeah. Well, I have the space. Why don't I just create something that fits my own needs?
So would you say that your target client is someone who works 9 to 5, just can't have the dog inside their home, like because you mentioned the idea of like a daycare, or is it more long term? Someone stays there for a week, a weekend, a month. What would you say? Like what were you more geared towards, or what was ideal for you?
My ideal demographic is someone above the age of 35, I'd say. Either they have a family or they're not interested in having family, and they travel a lot, and they want to travel with their parents, with their friends, and they want to have somewhere to put their dogs in a long term, like not a long term, but like a 7 to 10 day like stints. That's where my bread and butter is like 7 to 10. And people ask me, oh, is that a long time? It's not. I've had 3-4 dogs that stay with us for like 2 months at a time. Wow. Right. And people buy 4-month packages all at once, and they use it up within like 2 years. Wow. And now I've only been open for like about 6 months now, but we've already had people stay with us for like 2 months at a time, and they're like, okay, I'm coming back over during Chinese New Year's. I'm going back to China. I'm coming back for another. My dog's gonna be here for another 2 months. Wow. That's it. So they use up like 4 months with a stay within 1 year. Wow. Now 7 to 10 days, that's the sweet spot where your dog gets comfortable enough in that environment.
And you also understand the dog as well. You get comfortable with the routine, the structure.
Absolutely. We've seen like severe anxiety, like separation anxiety dogs do very well after, I want to say 4 or 5 days. Once they figure it out, like, hey, this is safe. Yeah. I'm gonna have all my needs met. I don't need to try and run away anymore. So that's when they start to really like thrive. Okay, like now I can really focus on having fun here. Like I'm in a group of dogs that that respect me. If I want to play, then I'll play. If I don't want to play, then I can just do my own thing. Yeah. Right. And so certain dogs are solo dogs, so they can only be by themselves. Because they're either fear aggressive, or they're just territorial. Yeah. Or their parents want them to be by themselves because they've had a bad experience at another boarding facility. For sure. These are all things that we can take care of.
So interesting.
So I mean, one of the main reasons is because like I know that my dog needs to be a solo, or my dog needs to be just with my dogs in that kind of environments. So I'm sure like there's tons of dogs who don't go to daycare, who don't go.
They're not climatized. They're not ready for
it. They're not, right? And like a lot of these dogs, they came to the owners already traumatized. So like a lot of these things are really, really hard fixes. So things like being fear aggressive is very, very hard to fix. So, you wouldn't believe the amount of times where I've heard, I have no idea. I never would have thought about putting my dog anywhere before I found you guys, because this is the first time I've had to travel since COVID, and so many people have got the dogs during COVID. Yeah. So now
they have a problem that they're trying to figure out.
Now we're like, I didn't think about if I had to travel
for sure
when I got this dog. And now that I want to travel,
Yeah.
what do I do, right?
Yeah.
So that's like the big question mark that people
And you're
have.
solving that problem for them.
Hopefully, yeah.
So it was interesting, Tony, we had got to know each other because you had actually you had approached our business very intelligently saying, hey, you're a real estate office. You help people when their homes are for sale. You're moving families into Markham, into the surrounding area, into Stouffville, Richmond Hill. Let me introduce myself. And when you first came in, you had talked to someone from my team, and I was listening in the background. I said, this he's a hustler. I love the entrepreneurial spirit, and a lot of our show, a lot of our talks are kind of in the overall framework of entrepreneurialism, about the locale of starting a business in York region, starting a business in Markham. So let me ask, you were in North York. What made you decide to start your business here in Markham?
Okay, so my dad had a solar panel business.
Wow.
Back when this was 2009.
Wow.
So that was when the government had that like big solar
Rebates and
panel.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know how it is. And then so we were in North York, and then we're like, okay, he was renting a commercial space in I think Markham at that point, and he was paying these commercial spaces are very expensive monthly rents.
Yeah.
So he did the math, and he was like, okay, well, why don't I just buy a piece of land and put a big structure there, and that can be my head office instead of having to rent.
For sure.
Because you're paying to principal every month.
Yes.
You have a mortgage versus having paying your rent every single month, right? So that was kind of the start of like why we have a farm. We actually inspired a bunch of our friends who were also renting commercial spaces at the time to also move out to the boonies back in the days.
Yeah.
Because like now 19th and McCowan seems close, but back in the days, 10 years ago,
It seems further.
Why are you there?
Yeah.
Why are you so far? It's like a half an hour drive from where I am. But now people are like,
around the corner.
Oh, that's so close. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. That's what happens with real estate is that, what seems far eventually becomes a center hub.
Absolutely.
We had a great conversation with John Webster. He's the town crier for the city of Markham, but was the town of Markham. And he's born and raised in Markham. And he talks about, a street in Markham called Parkway Avenue, which is pretty busy. I would say it's a neighborhood street, but houses everywhere. There's not an inch of available land. And he said this used to be just a cow path. And, people, when there was development there, they thought, well, who's going to live up there? It's so far. And now you look at that's like South Markham.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so, it's interesting as time progresses, the location doesn't change, but the idea of it and the development around it changes. And you and I were talking just before we started about the idea that almost all businesses are a real estate business.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether you're selling hamburgers, it's no surprise that McDonald's, is wealthy, not because of a Big Mac sale, it's because of the owning of real estate.
Right.
We talk about different companies where they have grown because of the real estate asset, not because of the, the asset or the product that they're selling. And so it's interesting that you've solved a problem that you anticipated will already exist, but will be a bigger problem as time goes on. Absolutely. But now because you own the real estate, you're going to run a thriving business for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Absolutely.
And then, as you mentioned, you got the predictable lottery ticket, right? Like real estate, owning real estate is like a predictable lottery ticket, right?
Yeah, because like how much is a Grand Slam? What, like 10 mil?
Yeah.
I don't buy the lottery, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But my friends always talk about winning the lottery, right? Like, what would I do if I win the lottery?
Yeah.
But like, this is the most reasonable way that you can if you buy 10 pieces of land, maybe one of them will land, and that's when you kind of hit the jackpot, right?
Yeah.
And the other ones are like, they will always increase with inflation.
That's like winning the lottery with 4 numbers. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
They're all your real estate will win the lottery in the future, but sometimes it's 4 numbers, sometimes it's 5 numbers, sometimes it's 649.
Like, I mean, when we come back around to the idea of like just real estate, then my business doesn't have to make money. My business inherently just has to break even, right? Like if I use my business to pay the mortgage off on this land, this business doesn't inherently have to make any money.
So it's so interesting that you say that, because I talk to so many entrepreneurs and I talk to so many people who aspire to run their own business. And I think that that's a huge point you bring up. If you're looking towards making profit, you can either make profit in the cash flow, which generally nobody gets rich on cash flow.
No.
Nobody gets rich on cash flow.
It's equity.
You make $1 million a year, you spend $1 million a year. It's the asset that is the piggy bank. That's where you retire from. You don't retire on making a great salary or net profit, because the net profit erodes. You invest it and you do something else, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the best way to get rich is to borrow.
Yeah.
Right. We have to borrow. We have to have a positive, what's the word? Debts.
Yeah.
You gotta have lots of positive good debt in your pocket. If you and like how like people ask me all the time, can I pay you cash?
Yeah.
Can I get a discount? Can I go tax free? Because people they come because it's at my house.
Yeah.
So they come and they're like, hey, like this is a young guy.
Yeah.
He's I'm sure we can do a deal. Where he's trying to make money. I tell everyone, I'm not trying to make money. The point is not to make money here, right? The point is to create enough cash flow.
Yeah.
So I can take all my on paper money that I pay taxes on.
Yeah.
And go to the bank.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, what can I do now with this cash flow that I've had from 2 years?
Yeah.
Right.
And create leverage.
Exactly. Now I've already had like the lady who does my business loan. She's brought her boss and her boss's boss.
Wow.
To Chi-Chi's. No, and we've discussed like, hey, like what does it take to actually create the next Chi-Chi's? 2 years of cash flow on paper. I need to show them, and so I'm trying to pay taxes as much as possible.
Yeah,
I'm trying to pay as much taxes as possible, because then every dollar that I pay taxes on, I can borrow now. I can borrow $10 out, $20 out.
My accountant said, "Don't be upset about paying taxes, because that means you're making money."
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I still don't like paying taxes, but you got to do it. This part of our society, and you want to be contributors. I know one thing that you had mentioned, kind of, before we got recording, and even through this conversation. I know you're constantly searching to bring value to others, and I think you have a global vision of how the whole machine works and how contributing to others allows for growth and opportunity for others, which in turn will then repay you maybe in the future, or maybe you're repaying blessings you've received in the past.
Yeah, you have to like every business inherently has to be a community business. Now like we're like, it's just about
every business needs to be a community business. Brilliant,
right? Every business, like if you start a brand online, like a clothing store, right? Like you're trying to create a group of people that really love your design, or they really resonate with who you are as a owner, or some part of your brand, right? Like my business now thrives out of the literally local people around who owns dogs.
Yeah.
Right. Like my client are like, hey, I'm trying to like come here as often as possible, because now you provided me with an answer to a question that I might have in the future.
Yeah.
Right. Now in the future, when I expand, like that's basically I have to rely on each local community to support me, and I have to be able to support them back in any way possible. So
and now your community itself becomes the answer.
Of course.
Because you've created an ecosystem for people with like-minded questions and like-minded problems.
Absolutely.
And like-minded solutions.
And that's the only way to grow your business. If you're able to be, wherever you go, have that local community be like the backbone of your business.
Yeah.
Right. And if we're looking at it on a global scale, like what we lack in Canada is these national brands. Or like Tim Hortons is owned by private equity. Yeah. It's not really a Canadian company.
Yeah. Anymore, used to be, and now they sold out.
Exactly. So like the question is, BlackBerry, another great example. I went to Waterloo. We're like literally linked together. Our buildings are on top of each other. Like owning having a company like BlackBerry really brings in a lot of we lose a lot of brain drain to the U.S. because of companies like BlackBerry. They're able to retain people, and also the creative gravity where people from other countries want to come and live in Canada and work in Canada and pay into our social security and pay into our everything, right? Now, I think the biggest thing that we lack in Canada is these national brands that can actually bring talent from abroad. Yeah. Not just not just low level workers, because the point to having a thriving economy is not to have just manufacturing, or just this, or just that.
Sure.
You need to
You need
have
diversity. You need diversity.
Exactly, a rainbow of, and that. And
I
that
think
can
you
only
also need to
come.
have a ladder. I think you need to have something that people can aspire to be. So when you have an entire community of middle class, no one sees what it's like, a little bit further down the line, and that's what
Exactly.
pushes them. That's what creates productivity, right?
Of course,
To me, I believe the idea of communism, it recesses a desire to push forward, because why try harder if we all do the same, right? We need to have that. In the U.S. they call it the American dream. It's the idea of the lifestyle, the ideal lifestyle. And that's what people aspire towards.
Yeah.
In the U.S. are smart because they branded this concept of American dream. I believe in the Canadian dream. I believe in the opportunity to grow as a family, as a community, to create impact in the lives of others, to have generational wealth, and to be able to grow.
Absolutely.
And I think that we lack that. I think it's eroding somewhat. I'm hoping that we can kind of change course, because Canada is a beautiful place.
Canada is a beautiful place, and the U.S. is built on dead dreams. There's a saying, like, every person, every American thinks that they are one step away from being rich.
Yeah.
Right, like Canadians, we don't have that. We look at
we're
Americans,
not delusional as much. Yeah,
we look at Americans and we go like we're not Americans. We're not delusional. We understand where we are in the world, but that's one thing. That's one way to look at it. But the other way is, like, you need these inspirational people, whether they're like delusional or not.
Yeah. Well, you could say that Elon Musk was delusional.
Absolutely.
Like, you could say this guy was just, who would think that the things that he's, and I don't think that he created it on his own, but the things that he inspired, the organizations that he's been a part of, and the visions that he's laid out, you have to be a little bit crazy to just imagine these things.
Of course.
To think about going to Mars seems so crazy. And I spent some time in Europe this summer, and I was traveling through Spain, and that's where Christopher Columbus had taken off, or John Cabot. Like this, they were exploratory countries at that time. And the idea of leaving what Europe was in the 1500s to say, I'm going to look for more, that's just as crazy as it is to go to Mars. Like, Absolutely. It was just as far, like, Canada was just as far from Spain as we are from Mars.
Absolutely.
And
if not more.
Yeah. And it's actually worse. You're right, more, because more people had proof of concept of dying, exploring. Whereas how many people have gone to space and died? I don't think the number's as high as how many sailors traveled, west. And
like, in theory, we know how to get to Mars.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, because now we've landed rovers on Mars.
Yeah.
So we have pictures of Mars.
Yeah.
Back then, there's no pictures of.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
You're just sailing off into the kind of known. You're guesstimating at best,
right? Imagined.
You're kind of imagining. You're like, this is kind of what it's gonna look like, but like, there's no like mathematical like equation where we know exactly what it's gonna look like. Now we just have to like bring our tech from here to here, and as soon as it gets here, we can go and do it. Back then, it's just like, I have a dream.
Yeah.
And like, it can be awesome. It can be not. It can be not awesome. Like, and chances are you're just gonna die. Yeah. Right. And
it's so funny. We're here chatting with Tony. We talked about the idea of how far McCowan and 19th Avenue was from North York, and how far that seemed. And somehow we inched our way to how far North America was from Spain, and then now we're talking about how far Earth is from Mars. So I don't know how global, I don't know how much further we can go. But I do want to kind of bring the focus back into the way you serve your clients. And, as a real estate agent, when we're selling homes, we often sell homes with pets. It can be a challenge, an extra dimension for us to think about, just in terms of home staging, making sure, like, the primary focus for us when we're selling a home is not the sold price, it's the experience that the clients have along the way. And that includes, how do their kids feel? Are the homeowners able to meet their work and family needs? How do the pets feel in this process? Because if I sell your house for a great price, and you feel miserable, and your dog is sick, or your kids lash out, and you get in trouble at work, that was a fail.
Right.
So it's quite common for us to encourage, or even to set up boarding for pets while a home is for sale. Are there any other tips you have for someone that maybe is putting their home for sale, or maybe they're thinking about selling their condo and they're thinking, what do I do?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say prep ahead of time. Like we love clients who come and they're like, hey, I'm doing this 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. What is the process for me to get my dog comfortable enough? If we're gonna be showing our houses for like a week, if we're gonna be moving and like there's gonna be things everywhere, for the door's gonna be wide open for the next week with movers coming in and out or stagers coming in and out.
So can people buy like, a package saying 7 days?
Absolutely.
Like I use it on Monday. Oh, I have showings on Thursday. Can I do Thursday and so on?
Of course. So we have a 5-day package, a 10-day package, 20-day package, 30-day package, 60-day package.
Now, is it 120 days as well? Now, is that consecutive, or they're just, I can use them anytime?
You can use them anytime within 2 years.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Now, do you feel like that becomes more stressful for the dog if they're coming in on Monday, new surroundings, and then on Thursday, or do they get used to that over time?
So like we're building up the idea that like if mom and dad drops me off here, they're gonna pick me up at some point, right? It's just like I'll come here at some point. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
Now the worst is when you're like, hey, I'm leaving for like a month tomorrow. I'm bringing my dog today, right? And then your dog is like, I'm gonna be here for a month. I have no idea what's going on.
They don't even know it's a month. They just like, this is my new home.
Exactly. So that in their brain now I have to adjust myself to this new environment. That's now my permanent home. Whereas if you come for daycare, you come for boarding 1 night, 2 night, whatever, then it's like, okay, cool. No, I come here, I'm gonna go home at some point. Right?
Interesting.
It's the concept of
psychologically, Pavlov's dog.
Exactly.
Literally.
Exactly. They're way more comfortable. They're used to the environment. They know us as handlers. And then they're comfortable with us and the environment a lot more. So it's all a psychological game for them, right?
Yeah. So then now, if somebody was to keep their dog in their home while showings took place, is there any other tips? Because I think that you're very intelligent. And you've kind of hacked, the dog whisperer. You've hacked how they think. Anything that somebody can do to make their dog feel as comfortable as possible while they're in and out for showings. Like I imagine the smells of people coming through, somebody touched something, maybe staging furniture has a distinct smell, maybe they smelled some previous pet. Is there anything that you can recommend? You say, is there a way to climatize or to calm your pet in a stressful scenario?
So your dog needs to have a safe space. Now, whether your dog is trained or not, a crate will be a good way to acclimatize. So like a crate is for a lot of dogs, their bed, so their safe space. If someone comes in, I know that no one's gonna come and touch me in the space. I know, right? Of course, you as the owner would probably you might want to put like a blanket over the crates temporarily, so it creates a visual barrier between you and your dog and the guests coming in for the showing. Best case scenario, you want to take them off on a walk. Hire a walker for like the day. Have them come in for the duration of
the showings.
For the showings. The worst case scenario is to have your dog loose. You definitely don't want to have your dog loose, unless your dog is like a little Chihuahua or a little
but still, I feel like it's unfair for the dogs, because you don't know. Like we're talking about how the dog feels, but the family coming through, they may not be nice or kind. They may have a totally different perspective on pets, right?
Yeah. So I would really suggest that if your dog can be somewhere else for the day, that'd be the best case scenario. If they have to be in the home, either in a crate with like blankets on top, with treats inside, something like a snuffle mats, like a puzzle for them to be occupied during the duration of the showings, or if you can stand next to the crates, or sit next to the crates and just kind of, hey, like this is my house, go for it, and then I'm gonna be sitting here next to my dog.
At least the dog feels they're protected.
Exactly. You can like put your hand in the crates or something like for them to kind of smell and know that they're safe. While there's random people coming in and out of the house. I think that'd be the best case scenario.
Perfect. And just as we wrap up, a couple questions for you. I know you're newer to Markham. I mean, you've been here now a little while, but what's your favorite restaurant, you would say?
New or old?
I don't. Give me one. I know you have like 500 friends that have great restaurants, and I don't want you to.
I'm a food snob, so I gotta be.
So imagine, maybe somebody listening to the show or watching us on YouTube. They're watching this and saying, "I'm thinking about Markham as a community." what's something that, say maybe a quick bite and maybe like a special place.
Okay, I will say the number one thing that you have to check out in Markham is the food courts. There's nowhere in the GTA that has food courts like Markham has.
That's
food
interesting.
courts, right? Now that's where you're gonna have the most options, right? Whatever you want, your kids wants, like because everyone wants something different, right?
Yeah.
Across the board, Markham's food courts are very elite.
What's your favorite food court?
The one at First Marketplace.
First Market. When you said food court, that's my first thought.
That's always the first one.
Like,
but even there's a bunch of other ones in the area. So like the one at
so First Marketplace, to bring it back, it's basically at Highway 7 and Woodbine. Woodbine and Highway 7. It's a mall essentially, and they have a huge food court in there.
Absolutely. So I'll give you a few things. The other one is if you want to take out sushi.
Yeah.
If you want sushi in general, I would suggest AI Sushi.
AI Sushi.
Yeah, it's at Highway 48, Markham Road, and 16th Avenue.
Yes, of course.
Their party platters are the best.
Really?
They're very reasonably priced as long as you bring cash.
Yeah.
And it's very fresh because they're so busy.
Now they're in the Garden Basket Plaza?
They are. I'm not sure what.
Which side of Markham?
Oh, no, the one
on the other side.
Across the street.
Across from the gas station.
The strip.
Yes, where there's a Sunset Grill, not Sunset Grill.
Yes. The breakfast place.
Breakfast place, yes.
Is it Sunset Grill?
No, it's not. It's Egg Smart. I'm there like once a week. I don't know. We fight between Cora's and Egg Smart. Like we're breakfast people. So
so AI Sushi is really good.
I'll check them out. I've never been.
Bring cash.
I'm
just call ahead because like during rush hour, they might take an hour to make.
Wow. Because that's great. That's a good sign. That means it's fresh.
It's very fresh. Very fresh. And
how about like a special place to eat? Like you want to go on a date night?
Like a date night, right? Okay. I would say for a date night, I say UB.
Really?
Yeah. It's a little loud.
Yeah.
But I feel like for the experience, you can't really beat UB.
Wow. And so where's UB?
UB is at Steels and Woodbine.
Woodbine and Steels. All right.
Yes, that's that. I mean, I'm Asian, so I'm gonna veer a little bit more.
Yeah, I want you to be authentic. Yeah.
For sure. So those I think would be my records.
And what would you recommend at UB to eat? What was it?
UB's an all you can eat. All you can eat Japanese barbecue.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. I love that. So just
it's
bring clothes that don't absorb smell.
No, they actually they have
fans.
They have absorbers. The fan that absorbs at the bottom of the grill.
Yeah.
So it's not even the one on top. It
goes from below.
As soon as it comes up, it just gets sucked in.
I'm gonna check it out. This Friday night, I'm gonna take my family out. We'll go. We'll check it out. The thing that drives me crazy, I've been to some places maybe not as sophisticated, where you smell like you are the barbecue for like.
Yes.
And so that's great.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they do a good job.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome. Any other last words? I mean, if somebody wants to connect with you, if somebody wants to bring their pet, if somebody wants to investigate a little further, what's the best way for someone to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can call me at 647-819-1008 or just send me a message on my websites at chichis.ca.
And how do you spell Chichis?
CHICHIS.ca.
Perfect.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Tony. Thank you for being here. And this has been a great episode. If you're looking for more information on everything to do with Markham, be sure to subscribe, click the like button, and comment down below. What's your favorite part of today's episode? If you have a specific breed and you want Tony, the dog whisperer, to, decode what does your dog or what does your dog breed represent in terms of you, just put in the comments below and maybe we'll ask Tony in an upcoming episode what each breed means. So thanks so much for watching, guys. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.